is Garth going to come up here?
Yes, he's coming.
Yes, Garth is coming up here. So I've had a few drinks. I'm like, I had an event prior to this. It is a 9 o'clock start on a Friday night. You know, it's expected. I just want to express... Oh, I'll let you come up here first. Take a seat, Garth. Take a seat.
Hello.
Hi. How was watching that? How do you feel?
I feel good. I was worried I would be a bit overcome, but I held it together.
You held it together?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I was just wondering, is Baron and family? Oh, hi. There's Baron Knox, Doug's sister, and family.
Hi.
I'm so pleased you're here. That's very lovely. All right. And who else we got? We've got Kylie, who worked in the shop and was so magnificent. Where are you, Kylie? You are just fabulous. And Matt, the editor, where are you? Didn't make it. Lisa sends her apologies, who did the music. Michelle has a terrible migraine. She couldn't come. But I think otherwise, yeah. It's lovely to see it. Thank you.
I was meant to do like a reading in response to the film, but I feel like maybe we can do that afterwards. I kind of want to start not grilling you, but like just, you know, talking to you about the film now while it's fresh.
Right.
I guess really basically, how did you meet Doug? Like, how did this film come to happen?
Do you remember there was a bar called Tongue and Groove? Does anyone remember that? What was the street it was on? Wyndham Street. Well, I went there, and it was empty apart from Doug George, and we looked at each other, and he just started laughing, and that was that. And so we became friends immediately. I think we tried to be lovers for about 5 minutes, but that was like, forget it. It was having too much fun.
Okay, great.
Making each other laugh. So we just drove around in his big red thing, whatever that was, Land Cruiser. I remember we were on lots of like trips, and remember we rolled it upside down at the top of the Coromandel.
Oh my God.
What?
Like,
oh, well, we just went around a corner too fast. He was driving, and it ended up upside down, and we just looked at each other because we were held up by the seats. And he said, I've never seen the beach from this angle before.
okay.
That was how it went with Doug.
Yeah,
so,
great.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And, well, you know, yeah, it's sort of like that, yeah. Well, he'd come back to New Zealand. He'd been in Australia. Just correct me if I'm wrong on anything, Baron, but I think he wanted a sort of a reprieve from the intensity of Sydney. And so he set up his shop, Georgia D, on Lawn Street. And that became his project. And he was so lucky to find Kylie, who was absolutely a match for his insanity. A very warm, clever, lovely person, Kylie. It's brilliant. And Doug was HIV, and eventually that got the better of him. And I came to know Baron because I was staying in the house, and there was a house with two halves in Akirahu Street in Mount Eden. And we looked after him, and then he... at the time, it was, you know, difficult and a bit sad and anxious. And my friend Deborah Daly, who's a novelist, who some of you will know, and we were working on a comedy screenplay just to kind of occupy ourselves. And so we set some scenes in a shoe shop just because that was the theme. And we went round to interview Doug about what happened in a shoe shop, and we had Deborah's little dictaphone. As soon as he saw the tape recorder, his eyes absolutely lit up, and he just ignored everything we wanted. And he did that. A sustained monologue that covered how shoes had interacted through his identity, his occupation, his sexuality. Shoes were everywhere.
Wait, just to clarify in my mind, you approached him not with the intention of this, but with the intention of just research, which he completely derailed.
Derailed.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And it just kept coming, and it was so funny and so candid and outrageous and energized and organized. And then Doug died, and then some time later I kind of realized what a piece of magic had happened that day. And I didn't really know for a long time two things. One was, did I have the emotional stamina to approach doing something with it? And also, how could it be done? I'm a filmmaker. I knew as a piece of audio it was very, very valuable as a unique document of a sort of Australasian gay sensibility of that era. So I'm just a bit dry.
I mean, that's sort of the, like, I know we talked about this yesterday. That's one of the super interesting things about it, is that it feels like a time capsule of I mean, Auckland very specifically from a certain time, like all the talk about Manurewa and like what the 60s or 50s, you know, it's wild.
Yeah, so it's sort of a little geography lesson, and it's sort of a lesson about a sort of wealthy milieu that was a sham, seemingly.
Isn't all wealth.
But
so I hear. Obviously, I don't. What do I know?
Ultimately, I thought, well, my friend Peter Wells, who was a very accomplished filmmaker, he and I decided to just not to place the stakes too high, just to approach it as a very private film that we would just make for ourselves. And that was the freedom we needed to go further. So we just set up with... can I get a water, please, or something? Oh, thank you. We just set up various little shoots.
Do you want some tequila? It's mostly soda at this point. Yeah, have some of that. It is mostly tequila, but
that's the one.
That's good. All right.
We just set up these various little shoots. We just got a little bit of money out of the Arts Council, thanks to I think Lisa Rehana was on the panel and pushed it through.
I just saw her tonight at the other event that I was at before this. I should have asked her out. I had no idea.
Yeah. Well, no, Lisa I got great admiration for. So, but she could see the value of this thing and manoeuvred it through the hoops. And so we just had a number of shoots. We got the involvement of the lovely hero marching boys. Or who here
is it? These dudes? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yum. Yeah,
Mark, are you here? Oh, there. Mark, who did that amazing... Oh, look, the boys were so brave, I think. They kind of like just handed themselves over to us and did a lot of spontaneous stuff that wasn't... Oh, thank you. That wasn't... it was sort of like the energy came out of them. And we just could have captured all the stuff. And then it became a matter of synchronizing to the script, which was just his voice, which I got transcribed quite badly by a secretary along Jervois Road. So it's full of spelling errors. I didn't have time to kind of correct that. But and then Peter was very, very good at objects. He had a real historian's reverence for objects. So he did all that lovely stuff with the shoes on the movie star images with flowers. And I did various other things. I did and we sort of divided it up, what we felt we had a affinity for. And then with the editor, it became a matter of kind of synchronizing things so that we could play off it, try and introduce humor wherever possible, and thread through these different bodies of imagery, such as the gorgeous work that Tyra Royal did. Ty, where are you? Ty, thank you. You brought such grace and comedy, really. You brought a whole field of imagery we really, really needed and handled that so elegantly for us. So, and I think the film reveals itself, how it works. It just takes a little while to get going. I think seeing the boys on the beach creates a bit of a confusion for an audience initially. But really, we're just introducing our cast of characters because it's all about stand-ins. We had no footage of Doug. He was we didn't photograph him. And he was at the end of his, time. So it wasn't about that. It was just finding ways to represent the energy or the gesture or the intent or the subtext or the emotion of moments and building that up and threading all these fields of imagery together. So that was our process. And it happened, we shot it in about 10 days. It cost fuck all to shoot, and all the money that we had went into a post-production package so that we could do a very careful edit. And we had this lovely editor, Matt House, and he kind of did it in a trance, I think, while these two homosexuals screeched at him from the back of the room.
It's so funny that you talk about like the boys being a sort of confusing image, because I think the film as a whole, like it's surprising again that you talk about it not being such an intentional film. Like you accidentally got this audio doing research, because it all comes across as so intentional. I feel like there seems like there's this very intentional image system that goes with the audio. Like the themes seem too considered and too whole for it to be as accidental as you kind of say it is.
Well, I think it evolved out of the intuitive sympathy that Peter and I shared. He's not with us anymore either, but he was a very gentle but witty and quite sharp when required colleague to work with, who we just gave each other complete space. We didn't discuss in advance really how we would shoot things. He would be over there doing something, and I'd be, I came from a more traditional directing background with post-production experience, so I would go into shoots hell-bent on just shooting something I could structure. He would be wandering around doing something. What the fuck are you doing over there? But it turned out that what he was doing and what I was doing were quite sympathetic, because you don't always want to be directed by someone. Sometimes you want to sit back, and he would get like interesting wide stuff where he'd be kind of looking around for a composition, and that looking around could be very right for the moment, and also you just need a reprieve from too much intensity. It's already very intense. Following Douglas's voice is, it takes a lot of focus.
Well, that's like, so you had the audio because you're doing this research for this project. Whose idea initially was it to make this? Like, which of you two were the first to realize, hey, we might have something independent here of the project that we were meant to be doing research for?
I could see that there was something to be found, but I didn't know what it was. And that's where I brought Peter on. And he immediately went, yes, we can do this. And when it's not just an I, but a we, then you have so much more, you're underway, Working on your own is a problem for a filmmaker, but collaborations bring you immense rewards. And
you should tell James Cameron that. Yeah, it's like
I just prefer, and Peter, we just had different skills. They were complementary skills. It was a blessed project in many ways. It was like, for me, I think it's the ultimate one-off. It was the man himself is unique. The fact that he told us all of that just before he passed is unique. And I think that's what the museum in America, New York, has recognized, that it's a real special, unusually, it has integrity. And our role was never to moderate or censor. It was to just give him his time on the big screen.
I mean, I think, and I'm like, I'm like a pampered millennial where it's like I don't have like an immediate cultural memory of the loss around HIV and AIDS. You know what I mean? Like I now you can just like pop a pill and have as much fucking raw dogging as you please, and there's like no risk. It's all very low risk. I think this is like it's a really unique insight into the kind of psychological resilience of a generation, because there is such, it's more than intensity. There's a sort of ardent joy and
Yeah.
you know, like
Well, yes, you
and him. That's what I'm saying.
You steer your emotions towards happiness when you are faced with unrelenting doubt and anxiety. You know what the outcome is. And that's what I think he was a master at entertaining people and bringing people together. He was the most gregarious person. And he would have friendships which were really meaningful with, you know, society ladies coming into the shop, as well as working street girls, trans girls. And, of course, he made shoes that were large enough for Polynesian feet, for male Polynesian feet, you know.
Mine are enormous.
And when the...
And wide is the problem. It's long's fine. It's
yeah,
the,
well, he was working with factories in Australia. He supplied big retailers like David Jones. He was a serious businessman. And he knew his stuff. And that's why I think when he has all these outrageous comments to make about you know, the symbolism of footwear.
The cunts on the...
Yeah,
the
you
cunts
just
on
have
the
to kind of say, cool. I didn't know.
He's not wrong, though. I mean,
Well,
as soon as he points it out, you're like, there's a massive cunt on my foot. Like, is it, you know... Like,
well, again, you just go, well, okay.
not there's anything wrong with that, you know. It's not what I'm saying. You
The
know what I mean?
language he uses is confronting, but why tread on eggshells? You know,
Or tread on cunts. You know, tread on cunts,
know.
yeah. Like.
So, yeah, he's got a unique approach, and it's comic.
It's like the opposite of that. Instead of logocentric, it's like pussy logocentric. Is that a word? Johnny logocentric? Fuck. What is it? Yon. Thank you. Love that. Thank you so much. Peter Wells, I know we had this conversation yesterday. Peter Wells was like a really big part of my formative, like, homo in a small town, seeking gay shit, you know, like, so, you know, so like...
He's a huge figure in the landscape.
Absolutely. Like, I'm just making the assumption that everyone in this room knows who Peter Wells is.
Yeah, he's an author and a filmmaker. He made Desperate Remedies and all the films with, you know, Georgie Bayer.
Desperate Remedies is just straight up my favorite New Zealand film.
It's amazing.
It's fucking awesome.
And he knew the value of working at different levels, I think, you know. So I've always agreed with that you could do projects that are big and official and moneyed, or even pieces for television and whatever, but this was something else. It came in down here, and but the truth of it and the I don't know, the something about it was more valuable than all the official pieces in my mind, and I think Peter could see that too. That all that carefully moderated, groomed, script-edited stuff, well, this was the opposite of that. This was straight from the street, and it was a man telling us his view and his words of his life, and that's so rare. That's super rare. That just doesn't happen. So that we were so lucky to be around Doug and to share that.
And it's like, it's just so profound to me that, you know, you met this guy and there was no intention, like, you know, no conscious intention of making this film, that it happened very organically, or almost serendipitously. And yet, you know, the film itself, it just feels so like such a perfect synthesis between, I don't know, I think you've just found the correct image system to go with the audio.
Thank you, yeah. Well, I also think I should credit Lisa Morrison, my friend, who was the lighting person in the stuff with Tairoa. Lesbian woman who's amazingly multi-skilled, and she was very aware of where the camera was and what effects she could achieve by moving lights around. But she also did the music. We just went out to Dick Reed's studio in West Auckland, and she had a joint and sat down in there, and I said, okay, now this is the feeling. And so she'd just do some stuff. And I go, yeah, so just play with that a bit more, be a bit less concerned about getting somewhere, or, you know. So it was just a super loose little, but my friend James Beaumont he said the feeling he gets from the music is that it's her post-coital purrings took the film into a more meditational space, and I think that's right. Yeah, she lifted out of the domestic into another area. And so I'm really happy with the way that happened.
I'm curious about like what the climate was like when you were making this film, like the climate here in New Zealand, and what were the initial responses to this film like? How was it initially distributed? Like how was it shown? Where and how?
We ran it at the Greyland Community Centre for the 2000 Hero Pride Festival, and that was the venue we found. We had to black out the windows and put out all the chairs, and Peter and I would poke buttons on the projector and hope it worked. And we raised a bit of money actually for the Athena Trust in Wellington, who I think we got about $5,000 for them. That they take furniture into the houses of HIV people and manage living arrangements. So it was, it's great. And also we were able to bring it to the family. Baron and family were there, which was very, very lovely. And that was more important to me than starting the film out at a competitive festival, which is usually the game. But we sort of had made a choice, because usually what you do is you go, oh, well, it's premiering at the Melbourne International Film or whatever, and then it would kind of hop around the festival circuit. Well, that didn't happen. Didn't matter. But ultimately, what happened with it was my film Jack Be Nimble was being released in 2022 in America after being...
and it's great. I just watched it last year for the first time. I did download it. I'm so sorry. I just couldn't find it anywhere else. And I just had it recommend. I'm so sorry. But so good, you know.
The Blu-ray had space on it, and I said to the distributor, oh, look, I've got these other couple of films, and I yanked them off the shelf and bunged them on the Blu-ray. And next thing, the film department at the Museum of Modern Art says, we want this and we want this. And so that attention has been the trigger for, sales. So it's incredible. After 25 years next year, Peeptoe is it's out in the market and it's starting to make noises and it's being seen properly. It's only just now been, digitally prepared for the screen. This is the first time ever I've seen it screened in a proper space. So it's lovely.
It's great. Honestly, it's great.
I don't think we should exhaust people. Is there anything they might want to know?
Oh, yeah. Do you guys have any questions? There we go. We've got a question up here. Just yell.
How does the first film relate to this?
Well, it's just that Simon and I had been at school together, and we'd made our first attempt at a film, and that was it. We were 17. We shot it on Super 8. We were both doing Simon, where are you? There's Simon. He was my mate at school, and a very open, artistically capable, amazing pal. So we were working at doing some sort of like PEP scheme at the Devonport Community House, and we had access to that space, and we'd seen Metamorphosis, the Kafka Burkoff adaptation at Theatre Corporate, which was all these sort of insect, cockroach shapes put together by actors. And it had been very inspiring and, dark and sort of weirdly psychological. And we sort of just played off that. And this is how we did it. But we were also doing an evening or weekend or something at Alternative Cinema, which was a sort of under-the-radar experimental film collective up in all those warehouses that used to be up on Albert Street or Hobson Street. They've all gone now. And we learnt with this amazing eccentric schoolteacher, John Calder, how to synchronise you'd put a Super 8 projector beside a Super 8 camera, and you'd use, 3M reflective material that is for traffic signs, which sends a beam of light back along the line of incidence. So you're collecting as much brightness back into the camera if you synchronize them so they're running together. And so we could shoot backwards, slow motion, and still. And so we just had a play. And it was, it first we called it Come With Us because there'd been a track by Brian Eno and David Byrne from an album that you can't get anymore called My Life in the Bush of Ghosts. And there was a track on it called Come With Us, which was really kind of spooky and driving. In 1986, so that was 1981. In 1986, there was a TV show called Kiwi Shorts. And by then I was working in post-production as an assistant editor. And I knew the producer of that, Finola Dwyer. And I said, what about this? And she thought, oh. And then next thing it's on television New Zealand. But we had to have a soundtrack where we had a clearance. So that's where my pal Greg Bryce came in. And it was all done with tape loops, I believe. Greg, is that right? Where are you?
Yeah, a couple of tape machines and loops and first takes and
Tape machines and loops. And what was the next bit? Tape to tape. Yeah. Yeah. No mucking around. And so that's how that happened. And it's just got a really nice kind of repetitive, trance-inducing.
Yeah, it's like industrial and droning and
driving.
driving.
Vertigo and dizziness and illness and strangeness. All the good things.
Yeah, it's cool. Does anyone else have another stray question? A stray question? It's so valid if you have a question. I'll take that as a no. I was ready to do a reading, but I really just don't want to shit on the moment.
That's all right. No. I'm super happy, and I'm really grateful that everyone's here. Very meaningful. I wonder if I could take a photo. Can I take a photo? Would you mind? Just a big wide shot.
Yeah, go on. Oh, we got a question there. One more question. Yes, what was your question? More stories about Doug. Yeah, do you have another story about Doug? Something compromising, Yeah.
Well,
for you or for Doug?
He was a freak for the amyl nitrate, so we would...
Are you not?
We would drive around in his thing at high airs, and we'd go up to the top of Mount Eden and then dance on the sundial.
Oh, yeah, lovely.
So that was something I remember. I just wanted to take it. Wait on. And everyone who knows Doug, could you put your hand up? See, look at that. That's amazing. Yeah, he got around.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Is there anything else you want to add?
That's one version of Doug George, okay? That's one version. And you have all got your version, so I don't have ownership or claim over it. So I just want to say that it was a lovely experience tonight sharing this meditation about a man who... oh, look, there's this thing I wanted to read. Where is it? It was a quote by a French guy, and I can't remember. It was just really that some people come into the world and make it they vindicate the world, and they make it easier for the rest of us. And that's how I feel about that man. I can't remember the exact words because I'm not that organised. But, he did. He would bring his lantern shone strongly.
I guess that's also you by proxy because you've distilled an aspect and made it readily accessible.
Just capturing lightning, really. Very grateful. Thank you so much.
And thank you. And thanks again. Oh my gosh. And you should all see Jake be nimble, but pay for it. You should pay for it. Definitely pay for it. I'm so sorry. I loved it, but it was anyway, I could see it. I think the bar's still open.